This daf here Yerushalmi Shabbos, and the article Osbar edition of Daf Kuf Yirav Amralf, the Mishnah of Halacha Beis, which is the fourth line down, or the fifth line down. Nosimai Rabbi Shmorim, which in the Vilna is on Tzadik Aleph Amralf. Halacha Beis. Nosimai Rabbi Shmorim, and this is the coffee case. Not the case I talked about yesterday. This is a coffee case. You pour water on the dregs, Rishoshi Yitzlu, in order that they should they should become liquidy. Now, the sediment in the dregs should go into the water. It should, and give a taste to the water of wine, just like the coffee grounds. You want the coffee taste and the coffee grounds to go into the water. So it's taking that solid and making it kind of liquid. You know, you're not really making it liquid, but it's giving the taste. It means they should be runny, I guess, maybe a good translation. You can also strain wine with sudarin, which are kind of fabrics, and with kvifa mitzvahs and a basket, which is made of palm branches, and we're talking about it's a wine which can be consumed as is. It doesn't have real coarse refuse in it because then we borer. It's just make it a little bit more clarified, I guess would be the word. Unfortunately, we'll explain if it's mamish thick with refuse, then we borer. But this is something which you can drink as is, and you're not really doing a true bor on it. This is not really a keli, which is michal lebreira. So therefore, Chazal were makel and said, "Go, you can do this on Shabbos." You can also put an egg into a mustard strainer, and it gives it it's not really even straining the egg. You're giving it it gives a mustard hue to it, a mustard color to it. Vosi amulin b'Shabbos, and you can make amulin on Shabbos. We're going to explain what that is. Rabbi Yehuda b'Shabbos, because of Shabbos, can make it in a cup. You don't have to be lucky. You don't have to make it in a container, a large container of a moed on the chol moed. You can make it in a barrel. We're talking about kol if you're orchin, you can make it according to the guests that you have. Says when Rabbi Shem Rabbi Yehuda Shem Rav so vachli so can mean tik. You shouldn't make this the fabric which you're using like a type of the Moshe says here, which has has a deep hole in it of some sort. So they because that is like uvda chol. I guess it means you keep it kind of flat as opposed to concave. Is that the word, or convex? I don't remember which is which. Milsa. So he asked this question. So can you incline it, I guess, a bit, and then it becomes a tikka. In other words, you make it a little bit. I think it's concave, and then it gets more pronounced as you're using it. The Gemara says, you could put it on its side, and somehow, again, someone's going to make it into a tik. You shouldn't, as long as you don't do it the way you do it on a weekday. I have a note here. So according to Korban, it sounds like it happens automatically when you put it on sideways. According to the motion, it sounds like you're actually making some form of indentation there, some sort of a tik. But it's not normally you make a tik. In any event, when you do it sideways with the sideways motion, sideways, it's okay. Okay. Kini Mastisin says the Gemara where we talk about putting the egg into the mustard strainer. This is a way to understand it. Mefardim beitza misneder shel chaydal. you separate the yolk from the white in that in that in that mustard strainer, but you use both. And evidently, you're doing it in order to get it does separate the both of them, but it's not bar och and because you're going to use both, and you just want evidently the color to adhere to it. Gusha chadal, if you have a clump of mustard, Rabbi Yosef B'Shem you can crumple it. The biyad with the hand, a little bit clean, but not with a vessel. They also regard that as being uda b'chol. The Rabbi Yaakov, Baracha, Rabbi Yaakov said, "Mimayich." The mashbiach is girsa here from ben biyad ben bekli to mimayich bekli lo biyad, avlo biyad. And the Radal also has a girsa, and it seems to be that's a girsa of the Bavli. Evidently, normally they did it on a weekday by hand. They crushed the clumps of mustard. So he's saying on Shabbos, someone make a shinu, you should do it with a kli. So Rabbi Yochanan said, "Valo." It says here haklavim, and many people interpret it as haklavim, but the Mishbiach says it's actually a mistake. It should say b'chol yom. Say b'chol yom eino sin kain. We don't do it every day by hand. That the keli is considered to be a shinui. We use a keli on weekdays too. So what's the shinui? So there is no way to make a shinui. People do it evidently both ways, and therefore on Shabbos also do it ben b'yad ben b'kli. They didn't answer it, and they didn't require shinui. V'osi yam molim b'Shabbos making a molim Shabbos. V'yas Hashem Rabbi Yochanan said, "Yain udvash upilpulin." This is the wine, a mixture of wine, honey, and peppers. And evidently, they wanted to. It takes a lot of work, so they decided to limit how much you can make depending on whether it's Shabbos, Yom Tov, or Chol Hamoed. Okay, Halacha Gimel. Ein shores a chiltis b'poshin. Now, chiltis is it's called asafoetida, and it has very bad smell, but which dissipates upon cooking, which delivers a smooth flavor reminiscent of leeks or other onion relatives. So evidently, it requires a lot of soaking or cooking in order to remove the negative taste from it. So ein shores chiltis b'poshin. You can't soak the chiltis in potion in lukewarm water. It sounds like the issue is because of kalei bishul, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems that its poshrin is not necessarily specific, and the Gemara is going to discuss it. You can put it into vinegar, which I guess is less of an uvda the whole issue. Ancient accretion, I guess people didn't soak in vinegar, or it's less labor intensive. Name it, it's not labor of the whole. Insurance accretion, you can't soak. Krashin are like a kind of animal fodder, if I recall correctly. Vetches, which is a leafy vegetable of some sort. Low shuffling, saying you can't scrub them. Obviously, we use it for human consumption as well, because talking about human consumption as well. And you can't soak them in order to remove the refuse from it, and you can't rub in order to remove the refuse, but you can put it into the plate or into the basket. And the Torah says even though the refuse will fall through the holes of the basket and get separate on their own, you're not doing a ma'aser, it's just sitting there. Ain't kovrin as a teven. B'kvara, you can't sift the straw, with a sieve, and not put it on a applied place. It should shade on moats, in order that the chaff should fall off. But you can carry it in a kvara. And then put it in front of your animal, because of course this is used as animal fodder. It's hay. You're taking off. You can't separate the straw from the hay, but you can carry it in the kvara to give it to your animal. This is the way to read our Mishnah. That he says to put it into vinegar. That no fun of the tochometz. The Moshe explains why is vinegar make it better. So that's why it's okay, because you're going to eat immediately. But the soak in the vinegar is also no good. It has to be for immediate usage. So I guess the vinegar does it much more quickly and makes it more edible more quickly. But it entails soaking, but you also do it in vinegar as well. That which I mentioned also by lukewarm, it's only lukewarm. But mutter. But if it's cold water, it is mutter. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan said, no, I feel it's also. Seems also cold water. Amar lo Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Yanai, Halo lo shana leposhim. It only says lukewarm water in our Mishnah. Ella al chinam yaganu. The Radal says, he said this about himself. He's saying, like it says, that Tanoim waste the world. Because they can't possibly have the Mishnah. Rabbi Yana says, Lo is not going to Mishnah. It says in bottom Farshah B'Shabbat Sukkot Zabavli Tzorch Lagia Armei Achinam Yagani, I think. I can't really read what it says on the Radal here. The idea is that it says it's slightly different than Korban Eda, but the idea is that we learned the Mishnah from what? Because don't pass like the Mishnah, right? The just had Lolo show potion. Elachinam Yaganu. Let's see that we for what I'm not sure we but to be Achinam Yaganu, do we toil for naught? And the answer is yes, you did, because pass like our Mishnah. Achinam Yaganu. Learning it like Radal says, I guess it's a bit of a statement that the issue is for naught because they don't pass that way. And that's according to Lishna Achrin, the Korban Eda. Well, actually, according to Lishna Achrin, it says that Rabbi Yanai says it to Rabbi Yochanan. He says that Rabbi Yochanan asked him, "Lo shana leposhim." Then we also say just potion, and Rabbi Yanai says, "What you came? I think I came here for nothing, right?" He says, "I'm going to read a comment inside." Second shot. Rabbi Yanai the Carmel, Rabbi Yochanan blushin bitmiya. Chaybikanami yagan b'Torah. You think we learned? Think we spent all this time learning for nothing? By our learning, toiling Torah, you should now know. For I should say to Tichidai, that our mission, which only forbade lukewarm, is an individual shita. And halachas it's tak also in cold water. Pearson near ikar shemeskin the Bible. He says it works out that pshat because it works out well with the Bible as well. Okay, Ravuna Amar mechil the smooth shlosim Shabbos. Once you have this mechiltis, you'll have to drink a Shabbos, and it's not considered to be refuah. Shmuel Amar chiltis atzma, not just chiltis water, but chiltis itself. Machabrimu, healthy people eat it as well. Somebody eats a measure of a zuz from it. Mistaken, he's in danger. His hide starts peeling. I guess there's a very deleterious effect. Cause the person to be very overheated, and therefore his hide starts melting off, peeling off. Rabbi ate the measure of a zuz of the chiltis, and he ran to the river. Evidently, really heated him up, and he went to cool down. You can't soak the vetch, mishum borer, because it's a matter of being borer, the souls for the ocha. So it says, and not because you're rubbing because of borer, so like I said in the Mishnah, but mishum dosh, because of dosh, threshing. So that's gives a nice explanation. It says that since the refuse adheres to the vetch very closely, it's not just a mix of them. So if removing it from the food is more similar to dosh, which is to separate the kernels of grain from the husk which surrounds them. Okay, but there are those who say that other sources, not the Yerushalmi, who say that also to rub them or scrub them is also borer, not dash. Is that the Rashi, I guess, on the in the Bavli. and the two in Shulchan Aruch. Okay, he gives another pshatim as well. Ein korban as the time of kvarav leinem makavo shoshir amotz mishum marakid, and that's our koda, which is also, as we saw yesterday, form of sifting. It's like marking because what you want stays on top, just like we said yesterday that with the sola, you want to do our koda, the sola stays on top, and the fine flour, which you don't want in this case, it's too granular, falls to the bottom. Here too, the part of the hay which you want to give the animal stays on top, and the chaff falls to the bottom. Okay, says the Mishnah Halacha Daled, Gorfim lifnei hapatom. You patom is an ox which you are fattening up. Can you move the refuse and the dirt from which is in front of patom misakim stodim, and you can move the and they put the straw there for its eat. And you can move the straw, the hay, to the hay to the. Oh, it's going to be so much hay and straw. You move the hay to the side if it's about to get dirty with excrement. Divrei Rabbi Yossi. Chachamim osrim. Chachamim forbid you to do this. Evidently, they hold that this is Tirch Yisera on Shabbos. No, sorry. He said that's the issue. Yeah, because Ashvuya Gumos, because you might come to have an unpaved area there where there's the dirt is uneven, and you come to smooth the dirt. You can take in front of one animal and put another in front of another animal. Even though I might think that once one animal has it, whatever it's barley or hay, it's going to be repugnant to another animal. No, you can move in front of the in front of the other animal. The Moshe says definitely take it from a donkey in front of a ox. If chalob, not the other way around, because the ox makes it disgusting for the donkey with the mucus in its mouth. You can't put it in front of another animal. Okay, so says Gemara, the Mibnei Ma. Now, I say in the Mishnah Gumas because that's what the name Moshe says. But the Gemara says, Mibnei Ma, why the Chachamim Aser? To move it in the case of where the excrement might affect the hay. Shabbatam Mosari Ochel. So the simple meaning is that the ox there for fattening eats whatever is left over from the excrement, meaning that's not makbid not to eat from the excrement. So therefore, why should let you move the hay? So there's an interesting shot in the Ritva, which is the Re'i means here a roer, a grazing ox. And he says the reason why we don't let you move because excrement is because although patam doesn't eat the dirty hay, a grazing ox, which is just grazing in the field, he will eat it, and therefore you could just leave it there and give it to the grazing ox. Okay. Boida Milsa, they asked this question. Can you move from one animal, give it to another animal? Says, well, what are you asking? Is it not our Mishnah? Our Mishnah says, nothing Shabbos. So, it says, our Mishnah is talking about similar animals. We're talking about dissimilar animals. Okay. So, in fact, like we mentioned, Moshe, Tani, Noitel Adam, Lifnei Chamor, V'Noisen, Chamnei changes to Lifnei Para. Let's go, not vice versa. So you can take from the chamor, put in front of the para. The behemoth pia raw, you can put an animal which has a pia raw that it's well, let's see the measurement from which has a bad mouth. Let's say behemoth pia off. You put in front of an animal which has a good mouth. So Moshe explains. It's a similar thing. Similar idea. Shachamar piv ra lino shein medakti macholo. He has a bad mouth, now he eats much more stuff. He's not so picky. He eats also thorns and thistles. But you can but he doesn't have mucus. So therefore, you can then put in front of the ox, which is more meticulous. So both saying the same thing. One is to calls it chamor and para, the other calls it behema shapira and behema shapira, but they're both permitting moving in one direction, but the Pnei says now the other direction, from a chamor to a shore, but not for a shore chamor. Okay, says in halacha hey, hakash lamita, a straw which is on a bed, and the Pnei says stamel asokakai. I mean it's korbaneda. So by default, the straw is made for fuel, muktzah. Therefore, it's muktzah. Manano, and you're going to want to move it. They should saf, so it should be cushiony, float literally. V'rach and soft lishkap. So you can't use your hand because it's muktzah. Lo yidikanu biyado manano megufo. You can't use your hand. You can only use your body. Machal behema was animal fodder, or she'll have car or or it already had on it a blanket or a sheet, a pillow or a sheet. That indicates that it's made for lying. You can shake it with your hand. Michbash shababatim. It's a press, in which you press clothing. Babatim matirin. You can undo it on Shabbos. V'lo kovshin, but you can't press. V'shel kovsin lo yigabo. If it's a professional one, made it by launderers, shouldn't touch it. Korban Ada says because it looks like you're being soser, because it's evidently a very complex, elaborate tool, and therefore it's like you're breaking it apart. When you take it apart, it's very expensive, and therefore you wouldn't touch it. It's muksa on Shabbos. Shabbos, even this this press of the launderer, if it was undone from Shabbos, then you can loosen your clothing which is in it and remove it on Shabbos, even from this professional press. Okay, it says Gemara. Our Mishnah that the straw might conceivably be mukta, so we didn't sleep on it from yesterday. Let me ask you, small Ray slept in a gufo that's very like your body, meaning the way it says like it's your clothing. You're allowed to move it. The earlier generations asked, can you move it with your elbows, which is a shirei? So Rabbi Yanai said, Kroach kricha, kapach kpicha, shpotzenim amanda adele, nava besa amanda ravich le. So the Kikalodin says a nice shot here. He says, Peoshak kerech makrichin. The bald person gets more bald. Hagazel gozlin. Kapuach means, he learns some Russian of, deprived. Somebody who's been shortchanged by being robbed, he's robbed more. Roilish boch tzonin is appropriate to pour cold water on Mishen Lebeg if somebody doesn't have a garment. It says the Ade leans, like his language of Ma'ada Beged. Or he says, it said they're told to take off the Ed Yom Sinai, some sort of garment they got. Or it means Perish Labuzli, right? So it means that he's erased, somebody's degraded, pour cold water on him. He doesn't have a garment, it's cold anyway, pour cold water. He's already degraded, pour cold water on him. And Nova Bese Amisha Maim Yerla B'Shefa, somebody who has which water is pouring already. Then lo dai lo taro shnova bai. It's not enough that his anguish his house all his house then falls down. He has a leak in his roof, and then his house falls down on top of him. Chose view. All this bring down Lamash Rishon shoulder for that Rishon asked about the elbows. Lo dai so it's not bad enough that he has his poverty. Shein lo kashamuk, he doesn't have a pillow of goose feathers or fluff or whatever the richer people use. El Shel Tevin, he just has straw. And now, even for him to straighten out the poor little amount of straw he has, it's already a question in halacha whether he's allowed to do it or not allowed to do it. By the way, I should say it says man the Ravi Cholei, so he touches that up as somebody upon whom the water is falling in b'shefa, right? The water is falling in great torrents. But on the side of the Gemara it says bein perik yud or something like that. I don't know what pei yud is. It wasn't perik. We didn't have 10 periks. I'm not sure it is pei Yeshua. Whatever. Goras the Revia. Revia is that language which you had previously, which I told you, which means like when it's raining the base medrash, right? Revia means it's raining on him. So it's raining on him, then his house falls on him. Okay. The Taira Bechia, Hadein Din Lo'ani. Din Lo'ani. It's where Ikar says, Kikar says, Dini term Dini Mitzar Lishuani. It's a sad statement. But sometimes the halachas of the Torah are difficult for the people who are poor. The okay, there's a the Chiddush Adal says right there, shot. It's going on the next part. It's going on the on the press, but according to this shot, which I just made is Korban Kikol Oden. So then it's going on the it's going on the same statements about the elbows. That brings us to the next Amud, so we'll stop here for today.